Hi, I'm Ashley from Sunny Maid, and we are on our second baby quilt. Hello friends, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I have a little impromptu quilt we are going to make together. So, do you remember this quilt? Okay, a couple months back I taught you how to make this pineapple blossom quilt. I had this on the long arm last night. And here's finished product. I put a small border and a large border. I don't think you guys saw that when I got done. And I have this beautiful fabric for the back. And when I ordered this, I didn't know how big my quilt was going to be. And it ended up being a little smaller than I was expecting. And so I have a whole bunch of this fabric and I put it on my long arm and then I trimmed off all of the extra pieces. So look at this. And it's absolutely adorable. And I decided I'm going to take this and I'm going to make a baby quilt out of it. So you can join me. I have someone I want to give it to. I have a friend who is about to have her first grandbaby in June. And so she is super excited. So I'm going to use all of this leftover fabric. I mean, I still have batting connected to it. And a little bit of accent fabric, some background fabric, and we are going to make a beautiful little girl's quilt so that she can give it to her grandbaby. So let's go over to the cutting mat and get started. Okay, first I want to show you the block I designed for this quilt. Okay, so we have a star. Is that a surprise to you? I hope not. By this point you know I like stars. And then we added a little accent fabric. We created the star with a white on white. Then we used this beautiful fabric to create a diamond and the center. And as I put this together, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So let me walk you through the elements. These ones are just going to be a square within a square where we're putting white on one side, background fabric on the other. We're not doing anything with the center. And this one is a stitch and flip. So we're going to start with the square and put colors on opposite corners to create this effect. This is going to go through super quick and I promise you're going to love it. So here are our pieces. Okay, we have that beautiful print I wanted to use. We have background fabric, we have our white on white, and we have our accent fabric. So from our fun pattern fabric, this you need 1 6.5 by 6.5 square. You need 4. These are 4.25 by 4.25, 4 of them. Then you need 4 3 inches by 3 inches. Okay, and these are our pattern fabric. From our accent fabric, you need 4 that are 3 inches by 3 inches. Our white on white, there's 4 of them, 3.5 by 3.5 inches. And then our background fabric, you need 4 that are 6.5 inches square by 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And then there is 4 that are 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. So now we're going to gather up our pieces into how we're going to work with them. So this is our centerpiece. We're doing nothing with it. I'm going to stick it to the side. Next, remember, we're doing a square within a square. So this is our square within a square. We're going to be putting our white on white here on one side and our background fabric on the other. So these 3 are going to go together. Then we're going to hit our large background squares and we're going to put the accent fabric on one side and non-accent fabric on the other. Okay, so let's first start with our stitch and flip. We are going to take 1 background fabric, okay, then we're going to draw a diagonal line down each of these. Now I want to use a pen that is going to not be seen. So this one will actually get rid of it when you iron it. The heat causes it to go away. So I'm going to draw a diagonal line, diagonal line diagonally, of course, on two of these. And I'm going to then place them on opposite corners. I'm going to sew right down the inside of that line. Okay, we are then going to press it open and trim off these corner pieces. So I thought my thing was filming and it wasn't. So here we are. Let's start this again. Okay, this is our piece that we just sewn. We sewed right along the outside edge of that line. Okay, the trick that I have for stitch and flip, before I trim off this triangle, I am going to push this back like this, okay, and I'm going to line it up right with the edge of that original square, okay, and then I'm going to press it with my iron on both sides. And the reason I do that is because when I line it up with the original square, I don't have to come back and make sure that it's all square. It's already square because this was a square. Then at this point, I'm going to just trim off those back triangles. And I do it with just scissors. You can definitely do it with a rotary cutter if you want to do it that way, if you want a nice, perfectly straight seam. I don't really care, but now I have some more triangles for a fun triangle quilt in the future. So I am making 4 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 for this quilt block. When I am done with that, we're going to start with the square within a square. So let's pull these aside and pull up my next set of blocks. This is where I thought I was filming and I wasn't. So I have my center piece, I have my white on white fabric, and I have my background fabric. First, we're going to take these, and as you can see, I already did it. I am going to cut right along the diagonal line so that I have 8 of each of these. Then I'm going to take my center piece. The trick of this is you want to make sure that you put it going the right direction, of course. The opposite, white on one side and background on the other. So we're starting off with opposites, which means we are going to end up the other 2 sides opposite. Then I like to fold my center square in half. Just do a fingernail crease, or you can definitely hit it with your iron if you want. And this is where I line up my point of my triangle with that crease I just put in the fabric, and line up that side. So I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. I'm going to then come over, line it up on this side as well as in the center here with that crease, and line it up. After I do that, I'm going to take it over to the ironing board and iron them open towards the white, and then I'm going to trim off these dog ears because they will get in the way of our next set. Okay, this is what our piece looks like at this point. I ironed it open, going towards the white, and then I'm just going to take my scissors and trim off these dog ears. This just gets them out of the way, so when I do my next seam, they're not in the way. You can always trim them off at this point, but it honestly doesn't matter. Just make sure that you trim them right along that edge. Okay, so now that I have this piece all done, I'm going to put, well, what I'm going to actually do is create that crease again down the middle. And this time I just line up the seam that I just did to put on these other triangles. Okay, and I'm going to put one white on white going the right direction. Sometimes you can't see those very well. Right here. And then I'm going to put it on this side, making sure I'm lining up that point with the crease I just made. I'm going to then sew 1/4 inch down each side and iron them open. Okay, so now we have 4 of them that have two of the white on white on one side and 2 of the background on the other. And we have 2 that look like this. Now all of these are supposed to be 6.5 by 6.5 inches. So the only thing you should have to actually, so I just realized that I told you wrong. So let's go back and look at these. This piece, this white piece here is 5.5 inches, and this center piece is 5.5 inches. I think I told you 6.5 at the beginning, and now that I'm measuring this, I realize that they are not 6.5. They should be 5.5 square. So all of these pieces and all of our square within a square need to be 5.5 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up a center point at 2 3/4, get it going this way, and I'm going to just trim this down to 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Now, if you need more information on either how to trim square within a square or make square within a square, I will make sure and include my videos for both of those down in the description box. I have a series that I did when I first started my channel called Beginner Skill Builder Sampler Quilt, and I walk you through how to make all different types of pieces for blocks and different ways to make them. So I do tackle square within a square a couple different ways. I tackle flying geese. I do those ones 3 different ways. I do how to do half square triangles and also 1/4 square triangles. So if you're looking for any of those, make sure you check out my old ones. I believe that was in 2023 is when I started my channel. And you can find those videos. But back to this one, I will make sure and link the ones that talk about what we're doing specifically. Oops, missed that point. Specifically in this box down in the description box. Okay, so now that we have them all trimmed to 5.5 inches, it is now time to put our block together. Let's pull that other block out of the way. And we're going to start with our pattern fabric here in the middle, our square within a square. Make sure you put the white on white facing towards the center. That's going to create our star lakes. We are then going to put these ones in the corner with the pattern towards the corner and that accent fabric going towards the outside corner. Nope, I ended up with extra threads on this one. Okay, we're going to take this to the sewing machine. Sew them in rows. We are pressing towards the outside corners in the top and bottom row and the center in that middle row. And then I'm going to sew those rows together. And let me show you what that's going to look like. Okay, here is our finished block. Yes, it needs another, it's been laying around. It needs another nice pressing. Let me show you the back of this. Okay, I pressed them towards the corners, pressed this towards the middle, and then I sewed the rows together, and I pressed them towards the outside of the quilt. Now what I made is I made 12 of these. They are going to end up at 15.5 inches square. I have not squared this up yet. I do need to go back and check it. These should be 15.5 inches square. I'm going to square up, make sure that my corners are nice and straight, and they all look the same. So then I'm going to put them in rows of 3, and then sew the rows together, and I will have a finished quilt. Okay, you want to see how it turned out? Here it is. Look at all those fun shapes in there. You have diamonds, you have stars, you have smaller diamonds with that accent fabric. This quilt is so much fun. Now I did 12 blocks. They're all 15.5 inches, which means my quilt is roughly 45 by 60. Okay? Good size, grow with me baby quilt. You don't have to do that size. If you want a smaller one, just make a 3 by 3. Make 9 blocks, 45 by 45. My main goal was to make sure that I could use a 60-inch minky on this. So I get 60 inches of minky, and I do it short waist. Then I need 2 yards cut, and it's going to go my long waist, and I will have a beautiful quilt. And she is going to love it. So next I'm going to put on my long arm, and let's see how it turns out. Okay, so there you have this baby quilt that I put together for my friend. I actually love how it turned out. I don't have it with me right now. I quilted it, bound it, and sent it off as fast as I possibly could, because by that point it was almost time for the baby to be born, and I was sending it off with my mother-in-law so she can give it to this new grandmother and her new grandbaby. So I will actually show you a picture of it. I love how it turned out. I think it's beautiful. I love the colors. I would love to see if you attempted or you tried to make it yourself. You can find me on Instagram at Ashley_SunnyMade. Don't forget to tag me in your posts if you make any of these projects that I'm showing you. And I think that's it. So next week, I hope you have a great week and happy sewing.